Okay, welcome, welcome. It is May the 21st, 2021. I don't know how that happened. Time has different meaning these days. You're in the Learning and Development Roundtable. And I just want to say a big welcome to Abigail and Alex and Alexander, Carolina, Esther, Fuad, Joyce, Cameron, Lindsay, Mary, Rosie, Takimbi, Thomas, and Wambui. You are most welcome here. Let me know in the chat. Can you hear me okay? Can you see me okay? Let me know in the chat if the sound is good, audio is good. I'm coming to you from Nairobi, and occasionally, knock on wood, it's not going to happen today, the power can go out. So if it does, I do have a continuous power supply, but if that goes out, I will be back in a second. And occasionally I have ibis fly over, which are these beautiful, beautiful birds here who make a terrible sound. It sounds like someone is dying when an ibis squeals. So don't worry, everything's okay on my end. You are so welcome. I am delighted that you have showed up today, that you've cleared the decks for this couple of hours of focusing on creative problem solving. The roundtable has been running for, I think we're in our 9th year. And this is a supportive community focused on learning and training and education. It's an acknowledgement that we all need help, we all need support around learning, and that we all have tons to give. So please participate in the chat and get the most out of today. The focus today is on creative problem solving. So I'm going to teach you my 6-point plan, my escape plan. I hope that you brought a challenge or a problem or an issue that you're working on, because you'll get a chance to apply what I'm teaching you today. And if you have a stapler handy, feel free to grab that. And if you don't worry. Welcome, Maria. Welcome, Audrey. So a little bit about me. I'm going to find out a little bit about you in a second, but a little bit about me. These are some words that have stories behind them. So let me know in the chat. Hi, Mac. Hi, Maria. Lovely to have you here. Let me know in the chat what's a number that you're interested in knowing about me. So number 1 is the Humor in the Workplace Awards. Number 2 is Liam. Number 3, fashion designer. Number 4, watercolors. Number 5, prose. And number 6, fuglas. So let me know. So Cameron is saying number 1. So these are all different short stories related to creative problem solving. And in my world, humor is really, really related to creativity. And for, I think, about 3 or 4 years, I used to run a Humor in the Workplace Award program. And every year, small organizations, large organizations, and individuals could nominate themselves for this award. And we had this big award show with professional comedians. The prize was a rubber chicken's head inside a globe with all these feathers. So it was like a snow globe, you could shake it. So creativity and humor go together really, really well or creativity and humor go really, really well together, hand in hand. They're cousins there. Okay, Cameron wants to know, so Liam and Fuglas. Okay, so Liam is one of my 2 children. And the story behind that is that he, to those of you just joining, welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for coming. We're just kicking off with some introductions here. So Liam is my oldest child. He's now 24, but he taught me a lot about creativity. I have to say, when all the kids zigged, he always zagged. And I remember one year, his friend drew an unflattering picture of one of the teachers that they did not like and threw it to Liam. And the teacher saw them doing this. And what does my very, very, very creative child do with the note? He eats it. He crumples it up and he eats the note. So I like to say I learned a lot about creativity from him. Okay, let's do one more. Dikembe says number 6, fuglas. Okay, so fuglas is my term for facilitated group learning activities. So I am a professional trainer. My whole world is learning and development. And I like to mix in fuglas, facilitated group learning activities that are fun and interesting and creative into all of my training. So you're going to do some fuglas today. Okay, so welcome to everyone just joining us. I can see Marsha's just joining us. So delighted. I'm always so tickled that people choose to spend their time here and grateful. So a little bit more about me before we dive into a little bit about you. These are the 3 areas that I focus on. So I do learning and development around working better together. So I work with a lot of teams doing team building, conflict resolution, communications training, change management, etc. I also do a lot of digital engagement. So tech tools for ease and efficiency, tools for engagement, learning, communication, all those kinds of things. And then I also, pardon me, work with subject matter experts who need to learn how to train. Okay, welcome Malcolm and Alexander. Okay, lovely to have you all here. So that's a little bit about me. Let me know about you. Let me know, how many roundtables have you been to in the chat? So how many roundtables have you been to? Just put that in the chat there. Oh, I think the screen is a bit, let me just make sure that you can. So is this your first? Is this your, oh, Pamela, first time. Welcome, special. And Carolina 3, Irene 2, Maria 0. So I'm assuming this is your first. For Halvard, it's your second. Kamani second. Asmara first. Great. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I can see Mac is in the group. I know you've been here tons. It's so nice to have you back. And Malcolm is here as well. Great. Okay, lots of first timers and lots of folks who have been here many times. So great. So most of the time I'll ask you, because we have so many people in the room, to keep yourself unmuted. But just for a moment, if you can, or sorry, most of the time I'll ask you to keep yourself muted rather. But just for a moment, can everyone unmute? Can everyone unmute and say hello on the count of 3? Say hello in your native language. And if you have more than one native language, you can pick one. So on the count of 3, say hello to everyone in our room. So 1, 2, 3.
Good morning.
Hello.
Hello.
Marhaba.
Nice, nice. I hear, and feel free to mute again. I heard some very kind of energized voices and some very sleepy voices. So however you come to be here with us today, let us know also in the chat, why did you sign up today? What are you wanting to know about creative problem solving? So just put that in the chat. What made you sign up today for creative problem solving? Cameron is curious. Okay. Cameron, open to learning new things. Great. Okay. There's a real link between COVID and creativity. So I think this topic is really timely. Joe is saying curiosity. Thomas, passed my creativity frustrations for a full jump into creativity. Nice. So turning some frustrations around, that's fantastic. Let's say Maria's saying opening new doors now that we're stuck at home. Oh, I love that play on words, Maria. That's great. Halbert, how to get creative ideas accepted and approved. Oh, nice. Pamela, I wanted to learn new things. Feel my creativity has been stopped. Yeah, absolutely. There's some real reasons for that. Alexander, broaden my knowledge on problem solving tools. Dikembe, learn and engage on new ideas. Folks, if you're not muted, I'll just ask you to mute if you don't mind. Just, I know there's some background noise for some folks there. Audrey wants to learn how to escape. You're definitely going to learn that. Okay, Louisa, refined skills to resolve challenges in a new and creative way. Marcia, to be efficient. Nice. Joyce, learn how to escape as well. Catherine, to cope on current challenges and move on. Joseph's personal growth. Fuad says something different and more creative. Mary, wanting to know how to deal. Yeah. Okay, well, I'm so glad you're here. We're going to jump in just a couple more minutes. A couple of things to, because I know, you've got a lot on your plate. So in terms of maximizing your time together here today and getting the most out of things, just a couple of housekeeping things. Please feel free to ask questions in the chat, offer ideas, suggestions, etc. And know that we are recording. So folks who are members get access to all 8+ years, almost 9 years now, of resources. Oh, let me just, sorry, I'm just going to, sorry, I was just trying to. So I will share the link to join the roundtable. It's free to join. And again, if you join, you get access to all of the recording, the PowerPoints, all those kinds of things. If you are a UN staff and if you want to have access to the to count this towards your UN mandated training, make sure that you sign the attendance sheet, and the attendance sheet link is in the agenda that I sent you. If you don't need to have it to count towards your UN mandated training, don't worry about it. And if you're not a UN staff, don't worry about it. Again, if you want access to the recordings, the PowerPoints, all 8 years of roundtables, make sure that you sign up. That link, I'll give you that link at the end of the workshop today, and it's also in the agenda that I sent you. And I'm always really, really interested to join our community. So please, if you get value from today, please pick 2 or 3 colleagues or friends and please send the link to them and invite them to join. This group is for anyone who's interested in learning, development, education. Welcome, Christine, who's just joining us. So nice to have you here. We're just doing some quick housekeeping things and then we'll dive into our topic. So sometimes people get a little bit confused between signing up for the individual meeting and signing up for the roundtable itself. So if you become a member, this is what that sign up sheet looks like. And then signing up for the individual meetings, that's what that looks like. Okay, this is our last meeting for 2 months. We take it in the summer or the winter, depending on what part of the world you're in. So please mark your calendars. For the next one is until August. Welcome, Kennedy. Welcome, Veronica, just joining us. So August 19th is our next one. If you're a member, you'll automatically get all of these notices. And I alternate between the 3rd Friday and the 3rd Thursday of the month. And that's to incorporate, I had lots of, we only used to hold the roundtable on Fridays. And I had lots of requests from staff around the world in different time zones that it wasn't friendly. So that's why we alternate. 1 month, it's the 3rd Friday morning, East Africa time. And the next month, it's the 3rd Thursday from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. East Africa time. Okay, so just a quick recap there. Make the most of your learning today. Just I like to say, be a vacuum cleaner for learning. Make sure that you ask questions and give your advice and your comments and your well-won wisdom. If you're a UN a staff and you want to get credit for the training, make sure you sign the attendance sheet and sign up to be a member if you haven't. Invite other people. And please make sure that you suggest roundtable topics. When I send out the follow-up email, which I'll do next week, I will also send a link to a survey. I'm collecting your feedback on the roundtables, and there's always a chance there to enter ideas. I did a survey a little while ago. Let me know in the chat So this topic and the last two topics I did were all based on the results of that survey. The other popular topics, let me know how you feel about these topics for upcoming roundtables, were public speaking and facilitation. So let me know in the chat if it's interesting for you. So public speaking and facilitation, negotiation skills, and communication skills. So let me know in the chat if any of those are interesting for you. Okay, okay. So any of those topics? Okay, so Maria's like in communication, public speaking. Joyce is communication. Halbert, public speaking, negotiation, communication, public speaking, public speaking. Okay, great. Oh, Cameron, all of them. Okay, yeah, I'm doing a negotiation, intensive negotiation training right now for peacekeeping, a UN peacekeeping agency. So that, and I've got tons of communication and public speaking stuff. Alexandra, communication, Catherine, public speaking, facilitation, negotiation. Okay, thanks everyone for your input. And also let me know if there's other topics that you're interested in. Okay, so here we go, pulling together for creative problem solving. So essentially on our roadmap today, I'm going to teach you the 6-point escape plan. We're going to, I really invite you to, if you haven't already, to think about a problem or a challenge that you're facing to apply these all to, because we're going to do all sorts of interesting exercises, creative exercises. Oh, Josephine's just joining us. Oh, Halbert. Oh, a workshop on feedback. Oh, that is such a good idea. Oh, I love that. I have a lot of research on the difference between how much people think they give feedback versus receiving feedback. Oh, there's some really great stuff on that. Okay, other people that are on the call, let me know, would you be interested in a workshop on feedback, giving and receiving feedback? I hadn't put that out there, but I think that's a great one. Okay. Oh, good. Okay. So we'll also put your learning into practice today, applying the ESCAPE skills to an example. And hopefully you're going to come away feeling inspired and relaxed and re-energized with a whole toolkit of tools. And then, of course, if you're a UN staff, you can count this towards your annual UN training. Okay, so creative problem solving. Why now? It's very deliberate. It's very specific about doing this workshop now. And it's because COVID is actually dampening our creativity. Sorry, I'm just trying to get this, sharing this screen properly here. So we know that when we're overwhelmed, when we're dealing with ambiguity and uncertainty, when stress is high, and when we have time constraints, even one of those things, but especially when we put all of those things together, we actually are less creative. And that's because our brains are focused on some of the absolute basics, which is fight, freeze, or flee. So there's all sorts of things happening in our brains that make it really, really difficult to be creative. I'm actually in the middle of designing a course for the UN on work-life balance during COVID. Can anyone relate to? Are you feeling overwhelmed? Are you feeling just fed up with all this ambiguity, this uncertainty? Let me know in the chat there. Alex is saying absolutely. Yeah, lots of, yeah. Halbert's saying COVID triggered creative delivery mechanisms. Yeah, absolutely. So COVID for some people has been a bonus. And actually I go over this in this work-life balance during COVID course I'm designing. Absolutely. I think that now more than ever, we really, really need to be focused on creativity. So again, think about an issue, a challenge, a problem that you're facing, and we're going to apply each of the escape skills to it. Okay. Okay. So not to worry though, help is at hand. Some of us, the research shows very different from what most of us think. So if I asked you to rate your creativity, how would you rate it on a scale of 1 to 5? So 1 being, I don't feel I'm creative at all, and 5 is I'm wildly creative. Well, how would you rate your creativity? And if you don't feel comfortable putting it in the chat, you can just think about it too. Okay, so we've got lots of 3s. Okay, got a couple 5s there, a 2. Okay, 5s. Okay, the research shows that, and this comes from Dr. Epstein, who is a psychologist. The research shows that people aren't necessarily more inherently creative. Like one person isn't necessarily more inherently creative than another. And I think that's really, really helpful to know, because I don't know about you, but my mother is wildly creative. Absolutely, sorry folks, wildly creative. But if you asked her, she would tell you that she's not creative. She would tell you that she's not creative. So sometimes we can be very hard on ourselves. So here's the first sort of fun, playful, don't put any pressure on yourself. But I've come up with an acronym that I'm going to teach you, which is E.S.C.A.P.E. But I'd love to know, just it doesn't have to make any sense. It probably shouldn't make any sense. But what could this acronym stand for? The E.S.C.A.P.E. So just feel free to put that in the chat. What could this acronym stand for? Thomas is saying, as Picasso said, every child is an artist. The problem is how to remain an artist once he grows up. Yes, once he or she, yes. Yeah, I think, children are inherently wildly creative, and oftentimes our formal school systems beat that out of us. Okay, so Cameron's saying E could stand for energy, energized. E could stand for, okay, let me make one up. Elephants signing cautiously and privately, enthusiastically. Okay, Josephine, exhilarating scientific course about perfecting everyone. That's great. That's great. Thomas is saying E could stand for express yourself. Okay, Sunita's joining. Maria is joining. Great. Zarina, welcome everyone. Okay, E could stand for exciting. Yeah, great. Satisfaction. Oh, I like that. Nice. Thanks, Tisha. Anything else? What could the C, the A, the P, or the P stand for? Caring, solutions. Nice. C is creativity for sure. Okay. Peace, Sister Kimbe. Okay. Okay. Anyone else? Agile. Oh, I like that. Oh, I like that, Cameron. Productive, productivity, compassion. Nice. Okay. Well, in my world, when I was designing this, Lindsay's saying everyone's stresses can alter personality. Yes, yes, yeah. Stress plays a huge role in creativity. Okay, so when I was designing, oh, and we have Sunita joining us. Okay, escape from a boring routine. Yeah, yeah. Routine is not necessarily great for creativity. Okay, so when I designed this, I think one of the most important things with creativity that we need to do first is we need to be in the proper mindset. We need to be in the proper headspace, if you will. So I'm just going to stop. Just going to stop sharing the screen here just for a minute. And I'm going to share a quick survey with you. And feel free to click on this survey. It just takes a couple of minutes. And here's the link right here. So feel free to fill in that survey. And this is a survey that looks at your environment. So what is the best environment for you for learning and for creativity? So welcome to those just joining. Oh, the link's not working. Let me just grab it again. Okay, sorry folks, how about this one? Does that one work? Okay. So I put, okay, great. Sorry about that. Okay, so click on that link. And if some of you, let me just, this is what it's gonna look like here. I know some of you might be on a, you might be on a phone or a tablet, it might be a little bit harder. So this talks about, what do you want to learn? Take charge of your learning, etc. Number two, what space do you best learn in? I'm going to give you two examples in a moment. What kind of space do you best learn in, and are you at your most creative? Oh, I'm just going to make sure everyone's muted here. There we go. Okay, just if people have a question, feel free to unmute, but otherwise just keep yourselves muted so we don't have your background noise there. Okay, and then who will be involved in your learning? So, creativity is all about learning. And oftentimes, especially with COVID, welcome Kamani, thanks for joining us. Technology often plays a role in learning and creativity. So it asks you to think about technology there. And then how will you manage your learning and your creativity? I've given a link there for a social bookmarking site. That's basically an online portal. It's a way to organize learning. And then it asks you to think about timing. So when are you at your most creative? So I'll just give you another couple minutes to think about that. Finish off that survey. Let me know in the chat when you're finished. I'm also sharing in the chat the link to join the roundtable that I mentioned earlier. So let me know in the chat when you've finished the survey. I'll just give you another minute or so. Okay, Cameron, you're done. Great. Let me know if these questions were hard to fill out. Were they easy to fill out? Do you have to think about the answers, or did you intuitively know them? And again, I'm going to give you 2 examples and ask you about, so in terms of evoking our creativity, you need to think about some, okay. Right. So I'm going to give you 2 examples in just a minute. And my hunch is that some of you will definitely prefer one over the other. Some of you will like one and some of you will like the other. And this is all under the umbrella of evoking our creativity. Lindsay, hi Lindsay. Somewhere depends. For example, budget finance stuff I need to do in the morning when I'm sharp, but in the evening I like to do social media stuff when there's no pressure coming from other directions. Oh, I love that you know that. Yeah, I have a colleague. This is just so brilliant. I think this is so smart of her. And she's an incredibly brilliant person. When she needs to do really deep, deep thinking, she sits in a different chair in her office. She actually has a space that she has carved out for that kind of thinking, which I thought was a really simple, assuming that one has space, etc. That can be a simple thing. Okay. So, Pamela, I do the same. Oh, I have a table next to the window in my house. That's my creative space. Oh, I love that. That's great, Pamela. And just to acknowledge, I know that space is a privilege, and some of us have loads of it, and others, would maybe are pressured with space. Thomas is saying lots of questions about technology and less about artistic creativity. So Thomas, this is just about the environment for creativity and learning. We haven't actually got to the skills around creativity yet, but especially during COVID, technology is playing such a huge role. For some of us, it's been really able to amp up our creativity, and for others, it's been a real, really, really difficult. Halbert saying sleepless nights or long distance travel provides good opportunities for creative ideas. Oh, Halbert, you and I have something in common. Long distance flights, I am on with creativity. Yeah, that's a fantastic opportunity for me to be creative. Okay, so as I mentioned, I'm going to give you 2 examples of different ways to evoke creativity and see if there's one that you prefer over the other. Okay, so the first one, I am going to ask you to put your cameras on if you're able to. So if you're able to, please put your cameras on. And we're going to have, hey Cameron, we're going to have a 1-minute dance party. We're going to have a 1-minute dance party, and pay attention to how you feel about this dance party. Whoops. How you feel about this dance party. Do you like it? Do you not like it? Hi, Lisa. Hi, Maria. Hi, Pamela. And I know not everyone can put their cameras on, but if you can, put your camera on and just let me know in the chat. I'm just going to start playing a song. Can you, just give me a second here. Can you hear this? This time for Africa. Waka, waka, this time for Africa. I'm well on my journey, biggie, biggie mama, 1 A to Z. Party, so on my journey, biggie, biggie mama, from east to west. Party, waka, waka, my waka, waka, my Tango since summer, Zimbabwe, yeah. This is Africa. Okay, I'm a little bit embarrassed. I just realized I had my video spotlighted, which means when people are replaying this, they're only going to be able to see me dancing and not all of you wonderful dancers. Okay, so that was exhibit number 1.
I could see everybody.
Oh, you could. Oh, good. Oh, good. Okay, I thought I had myself spotlighted. Oh, fantastic. Okay, so here is example number 2 coming up in just a second. And it's pretty self-explanatory. So just follow the instructions on the screen. Okay, so this is your chance to do nothing for 2 minutes. Okay. And I'll just ask folks if you're not muted, just to mute yourself, please. I can see that folks are putting something in the chat, but if I move my mouse, it's going to stop. Okay, maybe I'll check. I want to make sure you're okay. Okay, so notice I just moved my mouse. So it says,
Very fine, thank you.
Oh, I'm just going to get folks. I mean, I'm just going to mute you there. I think there's got some, yeah. Okay. Oh, Joy, so no, there was no sound on. Yeah, good question. And Irene, when you say do nothing, can I take coffee? Can I check my phone? Because for me, this is doing nothing. What gives? Yeah. Okay, so those were, oh, hi, Daniela. Oh, there's some connection issues. Yeah, I know some. I trust that people are doing the best that they can when there are issues like that. Okay, so let me know in the chat, did you have a preference? If you're thinking about meditation, by the way, doing nothing for 2 minutes, it will start the clock again if you move your mouse. So did you prefer the quiet, contemplative 2 minutes of doing nothing? Or did you like the active, louder music? Let me know in the chat there. So Dish is saying, I meditate to get rid of stress. Stress-free mind is quite creative. Nice. Joyce, is thinking included? Yeah, so that's a great, actually, I love that question, Joyce, because for some of us, yeah, you might need to, try to empty your mind, and others, once you're not physically moving your body, that can, really introduce the creative thoughts. Josephine, like the first one, the second one was hard. Yeah. However, thoughts on jumping elsewhere, the next meeting, grabbing a coffee. Yeah, it can be hard to get our brains to focus. Cameron liked the quiet one. Daniela liked the quiet. Thomas, I'm for the 2 minutes, do nothing. Disha is a combination of both. Pamela was both. Abigail, active music. Yeah, and the music one, maybe some of you normally would like dancing, but maybe that wasn't a song that you liked, or the genre of music. Joe liked both, Marsha liked both, Alexandra both, depending on the mood. Dikembe, I do both, but prefer the active, loud activity. Sunita, dancing was wonderful. Alexander, quiet, both good. Malcolm, hi, Malcolm. Yeah, so, and Thomas, I'm playing that song on piano. Oh, fantastic. That's creative. Okay, so let me just take you back now to our, sorry, just a second here. Just gonna take you back to the screen. Okay, so the whole notion here, the E, is this idea of evoking creativity, right? Which is really, really important. I have a creativity survey. Let's make sure I can see your chat here. There we go. I have a creativity survey that asks about each of these parts of the E.S.C.A.P.E plan, so the E.S.C.A.P.E, and only half of the survey responses, and I think I have about 1,500 responses now, only half of them know how to evoke their creativity. So what my first thing off the bat here is to really think about what specifically works for you and your creativity. Do you need a quiet place in a specific chair at a specific desk? Do you like to be up and, playing the piano, dancing, something a little more active? The key there is to find something that really, really works for you. Okay, any comments, questions about the E? And any other things that you do to evoke your own creativity? Any other examples? Thomas is saying to evoke, I need to be alone. Pardon me, not keen with eyes behind my back. Yeah. Cameron is saying background music. Yeah, I have a ton of playlists on Spotify. I'm glad you, pardon me, Cameron, I'm glad that you brought that up. I'll play different playlists depending on the mood, what I'm trying to evoke. Halbert saying, thinking the unusual, no limits, out of the box. Yeah, great. Some people, it can be a sense of smell, right? Does anybody use aromatherapy? Does anyone? I have right beside my desk here. I'll show you. I have 2 of these containers that have different kind of scents in them that will help me relax. They'll help me. Yeah, eucalyptus. Yeah, Joe, that eucalyptus is one of them. And peppermint. Yes, lavender in the evening. Yeah, so our sense of smell is one of our most powerful senses, and that can really help us evoke creativity. Josephine, just start. Sometimes the ideas do not come until I start the actual physical activity, like picking up a pen. Yeah. Pamela, stretching. Nice. These are great. So the idea here is to have a customized plan for yourself. Okay, let's go on to, let's continue on here. So the next one, Halvard is saying birch tree and sauna. Oh, wow. That's fantastic. And for other people that, that maybe that would be a smell that wouldn't work for them. So the idea here is that it's customized. Disha, I discuss it with people around me, and there are always different ideas from different people. I find creativity combining those thoughts. And also I note down my dreams every morning. Oh, lovely. Lovely. Yeah, one of the things that I find so hard about the pandemic is I'm not at the UN compound very much. And well, I think I've been there twice in the past year, so not at all hardly. And being on the UN compound, you're automatically surrounded by people from all over the world. So for me, that really, really helps with creativity. And for me, I love dancing. And other than, of course, being worried about safety and family and friends and the world, I really, really miss dancing. I would go out a minimum once a month and just dance. And that really helps with my creativity. Okay, so our second one, so the first is Evoke. The second one is shades of gray. And when we're stressed, when we're overwhelmed, when we're anxious, when we're facing a high degree of ambiguity, when we're in a global pandemic, our brains can try to convince us that we have many fewer choices than we actually do. So our brains can try to convince us that we can only fight, flee, or freeze. So part of creative problem solving is getting away from our brains trying to convince us wrongly. And one of the ways to do that is to open the fan. So this comes from a book called Failure to Communicate. Thanks, Judy. I can see your message there. Thank you. And this notion is that our brains try to convince us that we have this fan, and this fan represents our options, and that the fan is closed, right? That we only have one option, and that's to fight, flee, or freeze. But instead, if we can work to open the fan, in other words, instead of black or white thinking, dichotomous thinking, yes or no, right or wrong, we open that fan to see shades of gray. Right? So we open the fan so that there's many, many, many more options. And instead of thinking yes or no, right or wrong, we're thinking in shades of gray. And many years ago, one of my kids gave my husband this joke fan as a gift. And I kind of seconded it because it makes such a great example for this workshop. Because if you open the fan, any guesses what's going to happen when I open this? What do you think? Put in the chat. What do you think is going to happen when I open this fan? Albert, you're right. You're right. Yeah. Yes, it's it's 3D. So it turns into this very stylish knot hat. So I love, Josephine, I love this example, right? That again, our brains will try to convince us that there's only one way forward, but actually there's many, many ways forward. If we open that fan, and who knows, the fan can turn into a hat. So one way to practice that is through, Joe's asking where's the hat from? I don't know where he got it from, actually. I'm not sure. Thomas is saying a mind is like a parachute. It doesn't work if it's not open. Yeah, great quote, great quote. So in terms of opening the fan and opening the parachute, here are some questions for you to answer. So feel free to put your answers in the chat. Pick one or two or three questions and answer them in the chat. So number one, what color is the letter S? Number two, what does happiness look like? Josephine says a laughing baby. Oh. Number three, what color is today? Number four, what is the shape of conflict? Number five, what does purple taste like? Number six, what does your self-image sound like? Number seven, what texture is the color green? 8, what color is the smell of your favorite food? Welcome, Malcolm. We're answering a couple of questions from this list on the screen. Number 9, what does peace look like? Number 10, what is your favorite sense? So some of the answers here: happiness looks like a laughing baby. The shape of conflict is a circle. S is yellowish greenish. The happiness looks like sunshine. S is the color of yellow. Oh, Irene, the color of today is my imagination. Oh, that's a great answer. The shape of conflict is a very angular object, says Maria. Great. Happiness looks like fresh bread. Oh, nice. So when you're answering these, try to open up that fan. Try to think in shades of gray. Oh, Thomas, you are like on fire there. And try to think of, go beyond your first answer. So in terms of not being dichotomous, right? Not being yes or no, black or white. So for example, what color is today? So my today starts with kind of a burnt umber, and then it sweeps up into this kind of a shape of a tree that's all very deep, deep, dark indigo that has these bronze sparkler kind of light colored things sparking off of them. Now, sometimes when I answer like that, people say, what did you have for breakfast or what did you have for lunch? But all I'm doing is I'm going beyond my first answer and I'm answering with multiple answers. So take another stab again at what color is today? What color is today? And answer with more than one color. Oh, Caroline, that's lovely. Happiness looks like being able to give. Oh, nice. My favorite sense is love. Oh, great. Oh, Maria, the day started off gray and now it's blue. Thomas says, oh, this is synesthesia, a mix of senses. Yeah, I'm just making it up, right? I'm just making it up. I wonder what it would be like to have that. That would be, oh, Louisa, the spring colors. Nice. Nice. Okay. So again, when especially when we're stressed, when we're under tight timelines, when we have a huge amount of ambiguity, our brains can want to keep that fan shut. So really try hard to open up your fan, think in shades of gray, and have some fun, right? Have some fun with creativity. Today's color is busy. Oh, that's a great answer, Halbert. Takembe is saying it's an abstract painting. Nice. And as Mara is saying, color of today is light blue and then orange. Fantastic. Okay. Okay, let's go on to the next skill. So E stands for evoke. That's all about our environment. How can we put ourselves in an environment that promotes creativity instead of dampening it? Pardon me. Then S is shades of gray. That's opening up that fan, not going with our first answer and not having black and white dichotomous thinking, but opening up that fan. So the C stands for cobbling, And oftentimes creativity, when we're trying to amp up our creativity, it's about putting together disparate things. Okay, it's about putting together disparate things. So I'm going to give you a chance to practice now. So think about the issue or the challenge that you brought. If you want to, you can share it in the chat, but don't feel that you have to. If someone's willing to share their challenge, their creative issue that they're facing and want to practice on in the chat, I can use it as an example for cobbling. So if someone wants to give me a sample issue or problem that you're okay with sharing, put it in the chat and I'll demonstrate how to use this skill. And while you're thinking about that, so this comes from, there was a gentleman, for example, it's a true story. He was walking in the Swiss Alps and his dog kept getting burrs that, if you know, burrs are like this plant, it was getting these little round balls were getting stuck in the dog's fur. Do you have any idea what that led to the invention of? So this gentleman was walking his dog and his dog kept getting all these things stuck in its fur. Do you have a guess? Welcome, Miranda. Velcro. Yes, Thomas. Yes, that's how Velcro was invented, right? So very disparate things. A guy walking his dog, the dog's fur is all matted, and that led to Velcro. Okay, so the example, Sunita, I'm lost without work as my assignment is now done. I feel lost. Okay, so we're going to use that as an example to cobble. Okay, so I invite you to pick two numbers between 1 and 701. Okay, so everyone pick 2 numbers. You can jot them down. And then let me just give you the link here. Actually, I'm just going to stop sharing for a second here. So this is the link here. Yes, Thomas, same. The ballpoint pen was created by seeing kids playing soccer in a wet playground and the ball making a line. And then I always get the ballpoint pen and the roll-on deodorant. I think the ballpoint pen invention led to the roll-on deodorant invention. I think that was the order. Yeah, so they're very disparate, right? We're really cobbling together very different things. Okay, so I am going to share so I gave you the link to this, but I'll also bring it up on my screen. In a second, you should be able to see. So what I've given you is a list of occupations. So just let me know in the chat. Can you see these occupations in the chat? Second here. All my screens around so I can see what you're saying. Okay, great. Okay, so I asked you to pick 2 numbers between 1 and 701. And these are all different, occupations. So the example issue from Sunita was feeling lost without work because her assignment was done. So I'm going to pick 35, which is an astronomer. And what's another number? Someone give me another number between 1 and 701. So right now I'm demonstrating 500, says Howard. Okay. Janet's just joining us. Okay, so let's go to 500. Sorry, I hope this isn't making you nauseous. I'm scrolling really quickly. Pole. Welcome, Janet. Happy to have you here. We're just doing an exercise called cobbling. 500. Okay, 500 is a publisher. Okay, so Sunita, I'm going to imagine that that's the issue that I'm going to deal with, is feeling lost at work. My assignment's done. I'm not feeling great. And we've picked the number 35 and 500. So those 2 professions are an astronomer and a publisher. So I want you to, oh, is 106 blank? Oh, Veronica. Okay, pick 107 or whatever you like. Thanks for letting me know. So imagine that those 2, that people that are in those professions have taken you to lunch. Okay, so I'm going to lunch with an astronomer and a publisher. So how can that help me with Sunita's issue? I'm just going to pretend that that's my issue, the issue of feeling lost because I don't have anything to, I'm not in my tasks, my role is done. So the astronomer is all about looking to the skies. So I might say that the advice, because these 2 professions are going to give you advice, right? We're going to cobble together 2 very different worldviews to give you some advice. So the astronomer might say, Leanne or Sunita, look up, figure out what is the big picture, what really lights you up, what do you love to do, how can you keep your head up on your mission, your vision, your values, right? So that might be their advice to me. And the publisher, so a publisher is all about proofreading, all about the details, all about marketing books, all about finding out what's popular. So the publisher might say to me something like, do some research on LinkedIn as to what's out there. Get a Google alert to help you do research. So does anyone in the room have a Google alert? Do you know what Google alerts are? They're a fantastic tool. just Google Alerts, and you can set up a Google alert to send you information. It'll do research on news, blogs, whatever you tell it to, and it will give you back that information on whatever topic you've asked to research. So a publisher might say to do a Google alert. Irene saying, Thomas is saying the publisher may say 106 is blank. Yeah, like a copy editor, right? Like super detailed. Irene, astronomer, look out around, says the publisher, write something about what you see. Oh, great. That's great, Irene. You've got the idea. Thomas saying yes, Google alert. And and so IFTTT, it stands for if this then that. That's a kind of an automation type tool, which is really great. Okay, so you get the idea, right? So think about what your issue is. Pick two numbers, not 106, between 1 and 701, and then pretend that those two professions are taking you to lunch and they're going to give you some advice. So I am going to, actually, I'll give you the choice. I was going to put you into small groups to talk about this because you can also bounce ideas off other people. Is that okay? Are you good to be put into small groups for like 5 minutes or so, just a short amount of time? I'm just checking our time here. Yeah. It's a great way to meet amazing people in this group. This is an incredible community. You folks are so great. Okay, so I'm going to divide you up for just like five minutes, maybe 7 minutes. I'll give you, the Zoom will automatically, Marsha, hope to see you again in the future. Have a good meeting. If you have to leave early, make sure that you've clicked on the join link. I'll put that in the chat again. If you want to get access to all the almost 9 years of resources. And again, only members get the recordings and the PowerPoint. And I put together a workbook of all the resources for each roundtable. So only members get those. Okay, so I'm going to divide you into groups. And I'll put you into groups of, say, 3. So just manage your time, and I'll give you like 5 to 7 minutes. Okay. Okay, so a notice is going to pop up on your screen to go into the breakout room. I'll tell you when you have 1 minute left, and then I will automatically bring you back to the large room. Make sure you have the link so you know which professions that you're guessing from 1 to 701, and we'll see you back in about 5 minutes. Okay. So just put a yes in the chat if you're back. Great. So how were your, so for folks, there was a couple of people who just joined while people were doing small group work. So welcome back. And folks were choosing a list of professions, 701 professions or so, to take them to lunch. So 2 of those professions. So were your professions helpful in giving you some creative advice? And this is under the skill of cobbling, right? Putting disparate things together. So what professions did you choose? Oh, Cameron, it wasn't helpful to you, but it was for your colleague, okay? Different points of view, great. Miranda, great, okay. Agricultural engineer and road engineer. Oh, lots of engineers, Cameron. We had an actuary and foundry worker solving a problem with a supervisor. It was fun. Nice. Good job, Josephine. Albert, forgot to introduce ourselves and where the other person is based. We had farmer and coffee roaster. Different approaches in the discussion. Terrific, right? Like super simple, right? This is not, you can keep that link and come back to this, right? It's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to help you bring together very disparate ideas. We're saying it was enjoyable. agricultural advisor and nursery school teacher. Nice. Restorer of applied arts and crafts. We had botanist and archaeologist, a beekeeper. Oh, Joe's saying amazingly helpful. Picked a taxi driver and a journalist. Yeah. So these skills are not meant to be difficult, right? You can come back to that. You can come back to that list of professions anytime you want. And again, the main topic here is to cobble, right? Is to put together disparate things. And that's the C of our escape plan. Okay, thank you for chatting with your colleagues and being open to that. Irene is saying, really enjoyed the session and thinking like there is no box. That's great. I like that. Lisa is saying, refreshing discussion with points of view from photographer, zookeeper, and home tutor. Nice. Oh, you guys are rock stars. That's fantastic. I'm so glad to hear that. Okay, so let's keep going. We are on our next one. So E has been evoke. So the idea of evoking our creativity through understanding the kind of environment that best promotes our creativity, and that's going to be different for everybody. S is shades of gray. That's opening up that fan so that we're looking at all sorts of different options instead of getting locked into that closed fan and dichotomist thinking it's got to be this way, yes or no, black or white. Cobbling is, as I just mentioned, putting together those disparate ideas. Okay, so now we're on to assumptions. Now, I asked you at the top of the call if you happen to have a stapler to grab it. So let me know, do you have a stapler nearby? Does anyone have a stapler? If you don't, it's no problem. Cameron does, okay, great. If you have a stapler, okay, turn it over, okay? And see, do you have a button on the bottom of your stapler? The smaller staplers won't have this if you have a tiny stapler, but let me know. Do you have a small button? Cameron, yes. Okay, has anyone seen this button before? Do you know that there's a button on the bottom of your stapler? If you have the button, yeah, when I found this out, I was shocked. Oh, Josephine does, okay. So press the button and see what happens. Okay, so when you press this button, it's a little hard to see, but you can see it on the thing. So the base where the staple moves up and down, right? When I'm pressing that button. And the reason for that is that I can turn that base. So I can turn it, right? I don't know if you can see, it's a little bit hard to see, but I can turn it, and that will affect, if you look at the picture here, whether the staple goes kind of regularly, what most of us are used to, or if it goes like this. And that affects the amount of paper that we can staple. So some of you, it sounds like, might have known about that. I'm guessing that a bunch of you didn't. And this is all about the skill with creativity of trying to uncover assumptions. And assumptions are sneaky little devils. They're really hard to see. We make assumptions, like I know how to use a stapler. I know exactly everything there is to know about a stapler, but we don't realize that we're making assumptions. So before we go too much further, I'm going to tell you a story. I'm going to tell you a story. It's on here on the screen. And then I'm going to ask you some questions about this story. So this story is called the cash register story. Oh, Malcolm's back. Okay, the cash register story. Welcome back, Malcolm. You're just in time for story time. A businessman had just turned off the lights in the store when a man appeared and demanded money. The owner opened a cash register. The contents of the cash register were scooped up and the man sped away. A member of the police force was notified promptly. So I am going to ask you a series of questions. If you have a piece of paper, feel free to write your answers down. Okay, so grab a piece of paper and a pen if you have it, and take a look at the story before I questions. So these are true, false, or unknown. These questions are true, false, or unknown. I'll just give you another. Hi, Lorraine, welcome. We're just doing story time. So just take a look at the story before I change the slides to ask you some questions. And all of these questions, I'll ask you to just jot them down on a piece of paper. Your answer should be T for true, F for false, or U for unknown. Okay, here we go. A man appeared after the owner had turned off his store lights. Is that true, false, or unknown? And number 2, the robber was a man. True, false, or unknown? If you're putting your answers in the chat, that's great. Just put the number of the question so that you can go back later and see. Pardon me. And number 3, the man did not demand money. So there's 11 questions. Okay, question 4, the man who opened the cash register was the owner. True, false, or unknown? Number 5, the store owner scooped up the contents of the cash register and ran away. True, false, or unknown? And number 6, someone opened a cash register. True, false, or unknown? Okay, next set. Number 7, after the man who demanded the money scooped up the contents of the cash register, he ran away. True, false, or unknown? Number 8, while the cash register contained money, the story does not state how much. True, false, or unknown? And number 9, the robber demanded money of the owner. True, false, or unknown? To anyone watching this in the future, the chat is busy with people putting their answers. Okay, and number 10. These are the last 2 questions. Number 10, the story concerns a series of events in which only 3 persons are referred to: the owner of the store, a man who demanded money, and a member of the police force. True, false, or unknown? And number 11, the following events in the story are true. Someone demanded money, a cash register was opened, its contents were scooped up, and a man dashed out of the store. True, false, or unknown? Okay. Okay, so let's go back. So just take another quick look at the story to refresh your memory. Okay, question number 1. A man appeared after the owner had turned off the lights. Did you put true, false, or unknown? I feel like I should have some drum rolls here. The answer is unknown. The answer is unknown because we don't know if the businessman is the owner. We don't know if the businessman is the owner. So the first one's unknown. The second one, true, false, or unknown. What did you put your answer there? The answer is unknown. Why is it unknown? I wish I could see. Yes, Lindsay, right. We don't know that there was a robber. Yeah, we don't know. It said that they demanded money, but maybe that person owed them a debt or something like that. So we don't know. There could have been a robber, but we don't know. Number 3, the man did not demand money. Usually at this point, people are scratching their heads. That one is false. That one's false. Okay. Number 4, the man who opened the cash register was the owner. True, false, or unknown? Oh, Irene, you're right. We don't know that it was a man. Yeah, it's unknown. We don't know that it was a man. Exactly. Number 5, the store owner scooped up the contents of the cash register and ran away. Is unknown. Yeah, it's unknown. Number 6, someone opened a cash register. True, false, or unknown? True. Yes, Josephine, it's true. Yeah. It's the only one that's true. It's the only one. Okay, number 7. After the man who demanded the money scooped up the contents of the cash register, he ran away. It is unknown. We don't know that he scooped up the contents. We don't know. Number 8, while the cash register contains money, the story does not state how much. What do you think? True, false, or unknown? Number 8. True, false, or unknown? Yes, Josephine, it doesn't say what the contents of the cash register were. Now, usually someone says, Leanne, it's called a cash register, but what else could have been in there? Yeah, and Lindsay got it too. Receipts, checks, visa slips. Yeah, we don't know. Keys. Yeah, Thomas, great. Okay, number 9, the robber demanded money of the owner. True, false, or unknown? Good guess, Cameron. It's actually unknown because we don't know if there's a robber. There could have been, but we don't know, right? It could have been someone saying, Cameron, you've owed me this money for 6 months. I want my money back. But there could have been a robber. We just don't know. Okay, last 2. Number 10, true, false, or unknown? What do you think? True, false, or unknown? Lindsay, it's unknown. You're right. Why is it unknown? There could have been another person doing the, not sure. Thomas is saying false. Oh, doing the scooping. Yeah. So the businessman could have been a 4th member. We're not sure if it's the same person or not. Okay, and the last one. I usually get pushback on this one. What do you think? True, false, or unknown? Number 11, last one. 10 is unknown. Thomas, 10 is unknown. So what do you think 11 is? Last one. Josephine is saying true, false. Okay, and remember, this is under the umbrella of assumptions. So the technical answer is unknown because it says that the person dashed out of the store. Yeah, Catherine, it's unknown. They could have been in a wheelchair. They could have we don't know. We just don't know that. Okay, so give yourselves a pat on the back. However, if we responded most questions wrong, doesn't it mean that we have creative memories? It could mean that you're very, very creative. In this particular example of creativity, I'm using it to uncover assumptions, right? I'm using it to uncover assumptions. And I think I passionately believe that both for communication issues, conflict issues, and issues of creativity, we get ourselves into a lot of trouble when we make assumptions. So one way to increase our creativity and to apply it to creative problem solving is to try to identify when you're making an assumption, right? And one of the most effective ways to dampen creativity is to discourage it and just, oh, that'll never work. Oh, that's a dumb idea, right? So really try hard to identify when you're making an assumption. That really helps with conflict, with communication, and with creativity. Comments, questions about the A of our E.S.C.A.P.E? Any comments about, about assumption? Welcome, Malcolm. Carolina, it's hard to know when you're making assumptions. Welcome, Irene. Yes, it is very difficult. There's two ways that you can uncover, two really simple, easy ways to uncover assumptions. Can you think what they are? Halbert's saying, doesn't situations and uncertainty require assumptions? Well, oh, that's such a good philosophical question, Halbert. I think we have to make some assumptions when, for example, this is an extreme example, but we have to assume that the sun is going to rise tomorrow, right? If we don't assume that, we're going to have mental health issues if we're questioning everything. However, we often make assumptions and we think that they're truths when they're not. And a horrible example of making an assumption is when we stereotype, right? When we have biases, when we make, those kinds of assumptions. Irene, it's always assumed unconscious bias that robbers are men. Yeah, so unconscious bias is a great example of making assumptions. Janet, I can see your message there. Hope to see you again. Thomas is saying, adopt a pragmatic approach without emotive cognitive biases. I've done a lot reading about cognitive bias. Yes, super interesting about our biases. Yeah. Any thoughts on some other simple ways? I think there's two ones that I really strongly recommend to uncover our biases. We're kind of doing it right now. So one of them is to ask questions, right? Asking really good key questions is a great way of uncovering assumptions and also involving other people. It's often easier for other people to see the assumptions that we're making than ourselves. Thomas is saying, put yourself in the shoes of other people to see it from their perspective. Yes, look at it from the client's perspective, from the manager's perspective. Yes, exactly. So asking questions, putting yourself in the shoes of others, and involving other people. Yeah, those are all really good tools. And they'll not only amp up your creativity, but they'll also help you with resolving conflict and communicating better. Okay, so let's continue. So the last one is praise and celebrate. Okay, we've gone through almost all of the tools now. So E is evoke. That's what is the environment that you're most creative in. Shades of gray, that's getting away from dichotomous thinking, opening up that fan. Cobbling is putting really disparate things together. What would a gardener say about this creative problem? What would a university professor say about this problem I'm trying to solve? Assumptions is trying to uncover those sneaky devils because they're really good at hiding. By the way, assumptions often sound really normal, natural, and right to us. And it's, as I mentioned, it takes other people to uncover them. I worked with a client one time who was absolutely convinced, like this was law to them, that old men who wore hats were really bad drivers. Now, can you even think of how many assumptions are going on there, right? Not to mention stereotype, right? But to them, that was a fact. It wasn't an assumption, it was a fact. So our assumptions often sound normal, natural, and right to us. Thomas is saying, can you ride in a car with a hat? I guess it depends on how big the hat is. Okay, so the last skill here of our escape, to escape into creativity and to creatively solve problems, is praise and celebrate. Now, I actually alluded to this, actually just before that. When was the last time you celebrated? Let me know in the chat. When was the last time that you celebrated something? It could be anything. Pre-COVID, oh my goodness, what? Okay, Josephine says yesterday, Carolina last year. We're getting April of 2021, so last month. Cameron says regularly. Yeah, I think, Irene, this morning, just being alive is a celebration. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. In 5 days, it's my 2-year post sudden cardiac arrest. I went into maybe this is a little bit too personal, but I went into the hospital for a 10-minute procedure and something went wildly wrong and I died for 3.5 minutes and miraculously came back. So in 5 days, I'm having a big old celebration of 2 years of being alive, Irene. Yeah. Sunita says a few months ago. Okay. One of the things about creativity is I don't think we take enough time to praise and to celebrate. I think that, creativity needs to be nurtured. It needs to be sown. It needs to be fertilized. And part of what can do that is praise and celebration. And this is part of some findings. I do a lot of team building with clients, and these are part of some of I do some baseline work with teams, asking the participants where they're at. So two of the things that I ask them is, do you receive recognition for your work? And do you give others recognition for your work? So what do you notice about those numbers? What do you notice about those numbers? There's a very strange pattern. Yes, Cameron, there's way more giving. So for example, people believe that if you look at these two numbers, you're comparing these two numbers, that they're giving recognition twice as much as they're receiving. Right? They're giving recognition twice as much as they're receiving. So however, yes, they don't match up, right? So who are these people that they're giving recognition to? Because people are saying that they're saying that they receive recognition a lot less. So some of the research is showing, especially during COVID, that we need to praise and celebrate a lot more. So I've just put a couple of examples here. You can think of this in two different ways. So think about praise and celebrating the team. Can you have a praise party, right? Where people give, heartfelt, genuine, they're not meaningless, they have to be genuine compliments and, really praising people for things well done. I talked about the humor in the workplace awards. We really celebrated humor and had these big award shows, and it was just fabulous. One of the folks who submitted a nomination one year for the Humor in the Workplace Awards, they were a sunglasses company, and they had. I just think this is so brilliant. It's so simple, especially if you're from Kenya, because pineapples don't cost, or if not from Kenya, but if you're in Kenya, pineapples do not cost a lot of money here. They would take a pineapple and put a pair of sunglasses on it and leave it in the office. And when people saw the pineapple, they knew that something fun was going to happen. They didn't know what, but they knew that something fun was going to happen. So in your team, could you have some kind of symbol that when people see this symbol, maybe it's a particular background on your Teams or your Zoom calls, or a little symbol that's on one of your slides or something. Can you make a point in your team meetings to spotlight a win, right? To celebrate someone for doing something well. And virtual team building. I know, up until a year and a half ago, I had never done any virtual team building, and now I do it all the time. So just because we're in a pandemic does not mean that the need for team building goes away. And in fact, I think we need it more than ever. Let me know in the chat, do you have ideas, examples of what you're doing to praise and celebrate your team? What are some, or things that you'd like to do? Maybe you haven't done them yet. Maria, how do you do online team building? Oh, it's so much fun. I have done it with, gosh, I've done it with people in like 6 different countries, the national level, the local level. A couple of weeks ago, I did it for 115 people were online. Maria, how I do it is I work with the client to talk about what kinds of team building. Team building is a really big topic. So I really get specific and focused on what kinds of things they need. And then we do lots of fun, engaging exercises that work for that particular organization, that client. Cameron is saying, remembering team members' birthdays and celebrating online. Absolutely. Yeah, Thomas is saying pre-COVID time, we had food party every Friday at 1. Staff brings food and eat together. That was nice. And you know what? You could do that during COVID, right? If you're a team that you can find a time that works for you, with COVID, sometimes people are not in their normal time zone, but why, you'd probably want to mute yourself. You wouldn't want to have people chewing, but that could be really fun. Have a brown bag lunch on Teams or on Zoom. Anything else? Praise party, some kind of award program, something as simple as having a symbol like a pineapple means a surprise is coming up, spotlighting wins, virtual team building. By the way, Maria, if you're looking for more information, just feel free to drop me a line. I'd be happy to talk to you about virtual team building. So much fun. Thomas, not sure about humor at the workplace. I would be wary with that. Remember, you can laugh about everything, but not with everybody. Oh yeah. So humor in the workplace, when we did those awards, we were very clear that our humor was the strategic use of humor. So it wasn't laughing at someone, it was laughing with someone. Yeah. But you could have any kind of award program, right? You could have the tenacity award, right? Who is just keeps showing up, keeps being tenacious, keeps digging in, whatever you wanted. So you need to use virtual team meetings each week to praise, celebrate achievements, and design new activities together. Fantastic. Great. Okay, so those are some ideas for teams, but what about for yourself? I strongly suggest, if you don't already do this, Thomas, not to clean the microphone award for a month. Yeah, you could have COVID awards, right? Like, I've since cut my hair, but I used to be able to hold my arm in a straight. I'm trying to look in the camera. I used to be able to hold my arm like this, and my hair would reach my hands. You could have who's got the longest hair in COVID, or who's got the dirtiest microwave, because there's just other priorities in COVID. Oh, Maria, one of the things I sometimes do for clients, to give you an example, is we'll do a virtual bingo. And one of the things on there is like, who got interrupted by a pet today, or who got interrupted by a kid today? Things like that. Okay, so as important as focusing on your team is, it's also important to focus on yourself. So does anybody have a praise file? Anybody, if I said to you, do you have a paper file or an electronic file full of things that nice, things that nice things that people have said to you, compliments, kudos, congratulations? Does anyone have that? Testimonials? Cameron saying no. Joe has a daily gratitude journal. Yeah, that's another great example. Yeah. Yeah, I have an electronic folder, right? So in my Google Drive with feedback from clients, right? That I can go there and just look at all the really nice things that they've said. So that, that's something that really helps me. Another thing, has anyone heard of this concept of bookending your day? Does anybody know what that is? If you're consciously, if you pay strategic, conscious attention to how you bookend your day. It simply means, what are some really simple, easy ways that you can do to start your day and end your day? So perhaps, Joe, you might do your daily gratitude journal first thing in the morning, or right before you go to sleep. For some people, it might be, if you've heard of EFT, the tapping. It's a fantastic tool to help deal with stress. It might be doing just very simply a couple of deep breaths. It might be doing a couple of stretches. It could be lighting a candle. It could be prayers, like whatever works in your world. A couple of really simple, easy ways to start and end your day, to bookend your day. It can include really simple things like, I keep lotion beside my bed. One of the things I do before I go to bed, I just put a little bit of lotion on my hands and my feet. Really simple, nothing complicated here. I'm a big proponent of candles. Like, feel free to interpret this to whatever works for you. I might be saying some things and you're going, oh, it doesn't work for me. I have on my bookshelf back here, over there, I have a couple of candles that I will light and do a little bit of meditation. I mentioned the aromatherapy. I keep those things next to me, just really simple things. Music is a big one for me. I'll get up right in the middle of my day and I'll just dance with wild abandon to one song. Oh, and taking breaks, right? Sitting down is kind of like the new smoking, right? We're at risk of something like 30 or 40 diseases with increased sitting. So just taking a stretch break, standing up and taking a stretch break, using technology. My Apple Watch will tell me when it's time, when I've sat down too long. What are some of your ideas for praising and celebrating yourself? Sing. Oh, that's great, Joe. Nice. Time with the family and kids, says Cameron. Yeah, absolutely. I've had the most amazing reunions on Zoom, like people I haven't talked to in 30 years. Just arranging reunions, and it's been amazing. Taking walks, says Catherine. Yeah. Yeah, I'm learning how to play the piano. So I'm using this incredible app, and I'll just be grinning like a mad woman, just like, I'm so happy, just, listening to this music and playing along. So, okay. How are we doing for time? Okay, so we've gone through 1, 2, 3, we've gone through 5. Oh, playing Lego. Oh, nice, Josephine. Thomas is saying, I play piano without caring about the score sheet, the notes, just hitting the notes and having fun. Yes. Yeah, I've really had to work on that, because initially I was like, I've got to get it right. But yeah, just for the fun of it. Sunita saying, I realize I hardly ever do that. Sunita, I'm guessing you're saying about taking walks. For me, linking up with friends on Zoom is a me thing. Yeah. Carolina is saying, since we're at home a lot, we hug much more. Suddenly, as a surprise. Yeah. So that's funny you say that. So I've worked from home, a home office, for 24 years. This is not new to me. It's super new to my husband. And one of the things I had to get used to is he'll just come in the middle of the day and give me a hug, give me a kiss. And it's really lovely. But initially I was just really like, what? Like, because I'd be focusing so hard. So that took a couple months to get used to. Yeah. Okay. Great. So those are really great ideas. And I encourage you, because this will really help with your creative problem solving, right? If you're helping to decrease your stress and you have a deliberate plan for praising and celebrating yourself, your team, your family, that can be a big help with creativity. Okay, so the last one is engage. And I don't know if we have any Star Trek fans on the call, but Captain Picard from one of the old Star Trek TV shows, when the spaceship was about to take off, he'd always go, engage. So I think the most important part with creative problem solving is to actually creatively solve your problems, right? So to put all of these things into play and to use them. So when you're thinking about these different these different tools that we've talked about, evoking, shades of gray, cobbling, assumptions, praise, and celebrating. I was talking to you about that creativity survey that I've done, and I think it's got at least 1,500 responses. Less than 40% of the responses of the respondents have a plan to engage. So they might think that they have these skills, but less than half of them have a plan for using the skills. So as we wind up for our day today, we've got about 10 minutes left. Let me know, how are you going to use this learning? What's one thing that you're going to do as a result of today's workshop? What's one of the skills that you want to? Oh, Carolina is saying share it. Great, nice. Okay. Is there a particular one of the escape things that you want to try? Oh, Irene is saying praise more. Josephine, apply the cobble approach to look at different ways to solve problems. Yeah, that one's such an easy one. Mary is praise and celebrate. Anyone else? Celebrate more. Okay, the celebration one is big, says Cameron. Shades of gray, says Take MB. Yeah, gosh, our brains can be our best friends and our worst enemy. Because again, especially in a global pandemic, our brains can convince us that there's only one way. So that shades of gray, opening up that fan, that's a really good healthy skill. Hey, anything else? What about the environment? The first one, evoking your creativity. Is anyone going to try maybe sitting in a different chair to evoke your creativity? Or Louisa is doing shades of gray for sure. Nice. Anyone else? Oh, Abigail is the cobbling approach. Nice. Yeah, feel free to go back to that link with all of those professions and use that. Maria, making my physical space more beautiful. Oh, fantastic. Yeah. Sunita, I need to do more to celebrate more. I realize I hardly ever celebrate myself. That's what I meant above. Okay, and the cobble approach is really useful. Okay, bye, Mary. Have a good rest of your day. Okay, Alexander's saying question and reflect on immediate inclination for a yes or a no. Yes, that's great. That's great. Yeah, because we're so pressed for time, right? We just want to make these snap decisions and move on. And that can be efficient, but that can be a real killer of creativity. Okay, so Thomas is saying be less of a perfectionist and a brainer. Nice, nice. Great. Okay, well, as we wind up our time together, I just want to grab these links again. So this is the link here for joining. If you're not, and if you don't want to do this, absolutely no problem. But if the roundtable has been helpful for you, please know you're so welcome to join our community. And please share the join link with others. If you can share it with 3 people today, colleagues or friends, that would be fantastic. It's free to join. You get all the invitations, all of the access to the workbooks, the videos, the PowerPoints, etc. Oh, Irene, thank you. You are awesome. And I'm also, it's really important to me to be able to serve you well and make sure that I'm meeting your needs. So please, if you can do this right now, if you could fill in that survey. There's a little surprise at the end of the survey. And you get, if you want to, you can be entered to win one of my online Life Lenses assessments. So those 2 requests, if it works for you, if you feel so inclined, feel free to join the roundtable if you're not already a member. And please take a couple of minutes, whether you're a member or not, to fill in the survey. That really helps me know how I can best serve you. This is what it looks like when you're signing up to be a member. And again, please fill in that survey. The surprise is not a pineapple. I like that, Josephine. No, but I think it's something that will hopefully make you giggle and might even make you like laugh out loud. So enjoy that. I will, next week, I'll be sending out the email that has a link to the workbook. So I put all of the resources into a workbook. I put a link to the PowerPoint and a link to this recording. So if you do want to become a member, make sure you do that right away so that you get that email next week. If you have questions, if you have liked what you've seen here and you want some help around team building, tech tools for digital engagement, how do you manage all of these, digital engagement things, and or if you want to, if you have a need to learn how to design and deliver training in engaging ways, please feel free to email me, drop me a line, and otherwise mark your calendars. We'll meet. We're going to be off for 2 months and we'll be back again in August. Any questions, comments? I want to say a big thank you. You are so awesome for showing up. I appreciate your time. And I wish you fantastic creative problem solving. Oh, Cameron, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So I'm going to stop the recording now, but we're actually a couple minutes early, which is kind of unheard of. So hello to future selves watching this.